Good day, and welcome to another episode of Injury Prevention and Active Living. My name is Gabriel Quenville, and I'm the reconditioning specialist for the Canadian Armed Forces out here at Base 4 in Cold Lake. And I'm a clinical exercise physiologist certified through the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology. Today, I'll be looking at how to best set up a workstation so that it's ergonomic. Whether you're working from home, working in an office, or spending significant amount of leisure time in front of a computer screen, these tips are for you, and they're true regardless of your location. Now, there is some upfront cost required to having an ergonomic workstation, from a computer chair, monitor, external keyboard, and phone. You may not have to spend your own money in order to cover these costs while working from home. What I encourage you to do is to reach out to your supervisor and see whether you can rent out these specific pieces of equipment that you're missing at home and bring them home during the pandemic. If that's not available to you, I'll try to cover alternative solutions so that you can still be as ergonomic as possible with the equipment that you currently have at home. Stay tuned for my tips and tricks. My first tip is going to first require everyone to analyze their workstation, take a look at what items you regularly use and what items you don't use as often throughout your day, and take a look at the items. Can you use your non-dominant hand, or are you required to use your dominant hand in order to effectively use the item that you're reaching for? Items that you're seldom using may be placed a little bit further away from your workstation. In order to get to those items, you're going to have to reach. So for example, my Scotch tape, which I may use once a day, is placed a little bit further away on my desk than other items that I prioritize, such as my water bottle. When I reach for my Scotch tape, I'm adding a little bit of pressure on my lower back as I'm reaching forward, as well as my shoulder to pick that item up. However, since I don't do that repeatedly, I may do it once a day, if that. It's not that harmful to my body. However, my water bottle, which I do pick up regularly, is within arm's reach. That way, I'm not significantly increasing the amount of pressure on my back every single time that I reach for it, because I don't have to lean forward to grab my water and take a drink. As I can use my dominant or my non-dominant hand for this piece of item, I prefer to place it on my left side because I am right-handed. Now, let's take, for example, my pens. If I regularly write every single day, then having my pens within arm's reach is very important. And since I'm right-hand dominant, I'm going to want to place them on the right side. If I'm writing on a notepad, I'm going to want my notepad near where my pens are. Currently, my notepad is placed on the left side of my desk. So it may be better to place my notepad on the right side of my desk. That way, every time I have to write, I can simply pick up my pen, write what I need to do, and place my pen back without needing to bend forward at any point. So take a look at what items you regularly use, whether you need to use your dominant or your non-dominant hand to use them, and place them accordingly within arm's reach or a little bit further away if you don't use them regularly. My second recommendation is regarding your phone. Your phone should almost always be placed within arm's reach, whether you use it regularly or seldomly. However, if you really rarely use your phone, you may be able to get away with placing it a little bit further away. Now, the one recommendation I have is to always place your phone on your non-dominant side. The reason being is that oftentimes when we're taking a phone call, we do end up having to take notes. Right now, my phone is placed on my dominant side. Let's say I pick up the phone and I go for a phone call and I need to take a note. Normally, what we'll do is we'll cock the phone between our head and our shoulder, adding a lot of pressure on our shoulder and in our neck, so that we can take our pen and write down our notes. Let's say the phone was on my non-dominant side. I would have been able to pick up the phone, talk on the phone while my body stays in a relatively neutral position, which is better for my spine. And at the same time, I can take my notes because my pen and my notepad are within arm's reach. Now, if you regularly use your phone, then we do recommend a hands-free phone. A headpiece that you can place on your head, you can hear on one ear, and the microphone is attached. that allows both your hands to be free to take notes on your computer or take notes on pen and paper. Now let's talk computer screens. Your computer screen, whether it's an external desktop or whether it's a laptop, should be placed so that the top of the computer monitor is at eye height and you are within one arm's reach of your computer screen. As you can see, my computer screen is currently too far away and a little bit too high. What that is going to cause is for me to adopt a forward posture and a head up posture. The head up posture is bad for my cervical spine, and my hunched forward posture is bad for my lumbar spine. The reason that a computer monitor that is too far away and slightly elevated does that is oftentimes we won't be able to read the screen properly when it is further away than one arm's reach. So we're going to hunch forward in order to properly see what is on the computer monitor. If you notice that you regularly sit like this, an easy fix would be to bring your computer monitor a little bit closer. And the reason why my neck will be propped up is that my monitor screen is too high. Now, let's say the computer monitor is too close or too low, it's going to have the opposite effect. The monitor that is too close is going to be bad for your eyes, and the monitor that is too low is going to require you to adopt this neck down posture, which also adds excessive pressure in your cervical spine. All these improper postures that are caused by a monitor that is improperly placed will increase your risk of developing overusage injuries. So remember to place it so that the top of your monitor screen is at eye height, and when you're seated properly in this nice neutral spine position, your computer monitor is within one arm's reach, so you can touch your monitor right here. Now let's talk keyboards. Unfortunately, if you're working from home from a laptop, you're not going to be able to accomplish the keyboard and the monitor recommendations without getting an external keyboard. As such, I strongly encourage everyone to have an external keyboard, whether it's with a wire or whether it's wireless via Bluetooth. In order to accomplish this, first I recommend everyone reaches out to their immediate supervisors to see whether or not it's possible to rent one out from the workplace. If not, then unfortunately I do recommend that you go and you purchase one yourself. It's going to help prevent overusage injuries. That's going to help you stay in the workplace longer. For your keyboard, you want it placed so that when your arms are bent between 80 to 100 degrees or 90 degrees, that you're able to type without needing to reach too far forwards or having your hands too far back. If you're regularly typing, then you want the numbers or the letters directly in the middle of your body. If you're regularly using the numpad, maybe you're working in accounting or finance, then you want the numpad to be directly in the middle of your body so you can easily access it without increasing the flexion at your elbow. As for your wrists, you want them to be flat, so you don't want them cocked up or cocked down. If you're having difficulties accomplishing this, you may be able to purchase a gel pad to place directly in front of your keyboard, or you can try to make one yourself so that when you're resting your wrist on the gel pad, your fingers are on the keyboard typing away with no flexion at the wrist. With regards to your keyboard and monitor together, if you're only using one monitor, try to create a straight line from the center of your body through your keyboard through your monitor. As you can see, my straight line does not place me in the center of my monitor. As such, if I'm typing away here, I'm needing to twist my neck in order to read what is on the computer screen. And that's adding torsion and adding pressure in your neck, thus increasing your risk of creating an overusage injury in your cervical spine. So ensure that your monitor is directly in the middle of your workstation. If you're using two monitors and you have a principal monitor and a secondary monitor that you rarely use, then your principal monitor should be directly in front of you and your not so often used monitor off to the side. However, if you use both monitors equally, then you should place the center of both monitors in the middle of your body so that you have one monitor here and the other monitor here as you use them both equally. Finally, let's talk chair. It's a bit unconventional the way that I set up this video because the chair is actually the first thing that you want to set up. So hopefully you haven't gone and rearranged everything else already, and you're going to start with your chair. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're seated in a nice proper position. Your back should be placed on your backrest. And if you have a lumbar support, place it at your lumbar spine. Your lumbar spine is where the curvature of the spine goes forwards. When you're in this position, there should be about a fist distance between the back of your knee and the chair. If your knees are on the chair, then you're probably going to want to get a chair that's not as long in this bottom position. Your armrests should be placed as such that when your arms are resting on them, your elbow flexion is between 80 and 100 degrees, as I explained when I was talking about the setup for your computer monitor keyboard. When you're thinking about positioning your armrests, they should be slightly leaned in so that your hands are coming into the center and you're able to type on the keyboard comfortably. Your seat height should be placed as such that your feet are well placed on the ground. There's a 90-degree flexion at your knees, and your feet are firmly placed on the ground. If you're not able to get into this position because you're too short, then I do recommend that you either get some textbooks or some paper stacks and place them under your feet to raise your feet up so that your knees can be bent at 90 degrees. There are also some pads that you can purchase. However, it may be cheaper just to do it yourself with stuff that you have leaning around the house. I hope that you found this video insightful and that you're able to take this information to set up your workstation a little bit more ergonomically friendly. If you need additional help, I have linked in the description below the pamphlet that I used to create this information. It is a D&D pamphlet. As well, if you need even more information, please reach out to your PSP staff or to your wing or base general safety officer, and we will all be happy to help you. When you're back in the workplace, if you do want an ergonomic assessment, reach out to your wing or base safety officer and they'll be able to coordinate one for you. As always, stay safe, and if you haven't seen my previous video on how to move more regularly, while an ergonomic workstation helps prevent overusage musculoskeletal injuries, moving regularly and not having excessive time spent in a sedentary position does help you also reduce your risk of developing chronic medical conditions such as type 2 diabetes, hypertension, blood pressure, or any other severe chronic medical conditions. Please go ahead and check out that video as well. It is linked in the description below. And stay safe, continue working, and enjoy your day.